Ever feel like you're carrying something heavy and don't know where to put it down? Or wonder what on earth you're supposed to do when you just can't seem to cope? I'm Hesu Jo, a licensed therapist with years of experience providing individual and family therapy, and I've teamed up with BetterHelp to create Mind If We Talk, a podcast to demystify what therapy's really about. In each episode, you'll hear guests talk about struggles we all face, like living with grief or managing anger. Then, we break it all down with a fellow mental health professional to give you actionable tips you can apply to your own life. Follow and listen to Mind If We Talk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget, your happiness matters.
Everybody jumped from the Jeeps and the Mercedes. My knees collapsed. It took me a second to recover. And I didn't see my commander. So I thought that he already ran to the terminal. So I started to run as fast as I can, and bypassing everybody because I thought that I have to catch up with my commander. As a matter of fact, he was 2-3 meters behind me. And when I approached the terminal, suddenly on my left, I heard someone shouting that Yoni was hit, and I saw him falling. And give or take in the same time, the glass of the wall was broken, and someone was in the terminal surrounded with many hostages, and he was shooting at me. I shot him through the glass. I saw his head falling. He was hit. I jumped into the terminal, and I thought that I'm not the first. I was sure that my commander is already inside, but I suddenly saw that I'm alone in a huge room with hundreds of hostages and several terrorists. So I immediately changed my place, turned to the other side, and I saw 2 terrorists that were aiming at my back. And at this very moment, my commander, who was running after me, came in through the door and shot them.
So you were the first Israeli soldier to enter the terminal at Entebbe?
Yes. Unintentionally, I was the first one to storm the building and to hit the major terrorists there. That's it.
Hey, I'm Mishi Harman, and this is Israel Story. The man we just heard, a man who likes to end most of his understated sentences with, "That's it," is Amir Ofer. Amir's a businessman from Mevaseret Zion, who back in July of 1976 participated in the heroic rescue of over 100 Israeli hostages from the Entebbe airport in Uganda.
Terrorists for the Palestinian cause hijacked Air France Flight 139 from Tel Aviv to Paris and ordered it to land at Entebbe, Uganda. All but 4 hostages were saved, and 1 Israeli commando was killed.
45 years after that triumphant military operation, in 2021, at an Ivri Lider rock concert, Amir met and later befriended a young officer from the Yamam, the Israeli Border Police's elite counterterrorism unit. That officer was Arnon Zmora, who exactly a year ago this week was the sole Israeli casualty of yet another heroic rescue operation in Nusirat, Gaza. The operation, which was later named Operation Arnon in his honor, successfully freed 4 living hostages, Noah Argamani, Shlomi Ziv, Almog Meir Jan, and Andrei Kozlov. Though, as you'll be able to hear, he's a man of few words, Amir Ofer, the Entebbe hero, came into our studio to tell us about his unlikely intergenerational friendship with Arnon. Mitch Ginsburg and I spoke to him. Here he is.
Amir, if we could just start, if you would introduce yourself, please.
Amir Ofer, age 70. That's it.
It's a very full bio, Amir. You did a great job with that. Maybe give us a couple more details.
MSc in Computer Sciences, 3 startups, serving in 2 special units, the Israeli Navy SEALs and Sayeret Matkal. What else? That's it.
Okay. Can you tell us, describe when you first met Arnon Zmora?
It was a very interesting event. I was in a show. There were about 3,000 people there. I was with my wife and a few friends, and suddenly someone approached me, a young, nice guy, and he asked if I'm Amir. And I said, yes, I'm Amir. And he said, I recognized you. And at first I thought that someone is cheating me.
How did he recognize you?
He later told me that he saw me in some book or something else, and he identified the face, which is very impressive. I mean, so many people there and identifying someone like me, and I'm not a public person, but he identified me. And he said, I'm an officer in the Yamam. My name is Arnon. And if you don't mind, if you can come and give us a lecture about Entebbe, it will be great. And I said, okay, of course. And we set a time for the meeting. That's it.
So then you went to give a talk at the Yamam?
Yes. I came there several weeks later, and they left a very good impression on me. Because, sometimes I'm asked to give a lecture to this unit or that unit. And you can look at the faces and the people, and you know if they are professional or if they are standard, let's say. And they were really professional. They knew what questions to ask. Everything was what I expected from this unit, and it was a very good lecture. It was about technical details. And they were very happy. And I was very happy too, because I think that I really contributed something to their experience. And that's it.
Okay, and then Amir, 2 years passed and October 7th happened, and the Yamam were, of course, extremely active on that day. They were basically the first intervention force to arrive at many different scenes of action in the south. And if I'm not mistaken, 9 of their fighters, 9 of those soldiers who sat through your lecture were killed on October 7th.
Yeah.
Were you thinking about them on October 7th?
No, I didn't think anything about them. But then, after a week, I got a phone call from Arnon, and he told me, I must meet you. And I said, whenever you want. And of course, I will help him in anything that he needs. I didn't know what he wants to do. And we set a meeting a week after the war started. The meeting was on the street in Bet HaKerem, and we sat 2 hours, and he described everything that happened to them in the first day. You could see that he's in some type of, not shock, but he was still under the impression of this first day.
Yeah.
I mean, they were called at the early morning. They went to the south, and he decided to stop a few kilometers before Yad Mordechai and ask everybody to put his gear on himself, which was amazing because there was nothing there and nobody knew what's happening, but he expected that maybe they will meet the enemy a little bit earlier than they expected. And then suddenly they came to the Yad Mordechai junction, and he saw a few unrecognized motorcycles and cars or whatever. And suddenly 3 RPGs passed, one from the right, one from the left, and one from above. And they all jumped from their vehicle, and they started the fighting. They killed everybody there. In this first day, they moved from Yad Mordechai to Sderot, to Ofakim, to here, to there. They reloaded their magazines 4 times. This means that each one of them shoot about 700 or 800 bullets in this very day. And it was not shooting to an unrecognized target. It was shooting when you see someone, you see the white of their eyes. And then at last they came to what is called the House of Pessi.
In Kibbutz Be'eri.
In Kibbutz Be'eri.
Amir, can you describe for us, though, what the situation was there? Just like, I don't know if our listeners will know about what was happening there at Pessi's house. I don't know if I know.
To the best I know, it was a house, and there were about 10 or 12 hostages there, and about 50 terrorists. They were shooting from the windows, and all the methods that they used to rescue those hostages failed. They didn't fail. The terrorists killed all the hostages, and also all the terrorists were killed. And it was impossible. I mean, I know it. I mean, professionally, I can tell you there was no way that anyone in the world, even God, wouldn't be able to save those people. Impossible.
And you know all this because he Arnon reached out to you a few days later to tell you about it and seek your advice.
Right. And what bothered him, and all the time he repeated, how did it happen that you were able to save 100 hostages and we were not able to extract those 12 guys in the house? And I saw that he morally, he was so affected by this situation that he failed. This was the way he considered it, failure. It was not a failure. And I explained it to him, that professionally speaking, there was no way that they could rescue them. And I think that it helped him a little bit to absorb this conflict. And I told him, look, the best thing to do is take a time, if you have, sit and write everything that you did in this very day. Use the smallest details. And he said, I will try to do it. Now, I'm not a shrink or something like that. I simply know it because I did it. And my friends did it about Entebbe. And it really helped us. It helped us to synchronize between ourselves and it was a positive experience. So I told him, why not you try to do it? And after a week or so, I got a message from him. And he told me, you have no idea how helpful was this advice.
Was he looking for a mentor or a role model or a father figure or?
I have no idea. I think that he was looking for someone that will convince him that he didn't make any mistake. And he didn't make any mistake. But he had a feeling of, he felt guilty without any justification. And he needed someone who was professional that will tell him, look, you didn't make any mistake. And he didn't. So I was very happy that I was able to help him. And I gave him one more advice, never mind. And
why never mind? Let's hear.
No, I told him, listen, now that you are almost 3 weeks or 4 weeks in fighting, you tend to become careless. And don't lose your focus and don't lose your attention and be ready all the time. The enemy is not becoming weaker and weaker. No, they're the same. So whenever you meet the enemy, be very focused. And I know that now I know that he didn't need this advice at all. He knew it, of course. Later on, he called me. He asked for the book of Entebbe, and we set a meeting. It didn't happen because he was called back to his unit. This book is still waiting for him. And I told about all this story to my wife, and suddenly she's calling me. I was upstairs, and she's calling me, come to see the television.
And we begin this Saturday with breaking news as we take a live look at the Israel-Gaza border. Just moments ago, Israeli forces rescued 4 Israeli hostages from Gaza. They are alive.
Very emotional day. A lone Israeli soldier was killed in the Gaza raid. Arnon Zamora was a commander in the country's elite counterterrorism unit. Israel says.
And I came and I saw his picture.
If Arnon would have called you the night before the operation in which he lost his life, what would you have told him?
Good luck. That's it.
Did you see in Arnon Zamora a little bit of yourself?
It's a good question. I never thought about it, but now that you're asking it, maybe. But I was luckier. That's it.
והכרם שניתנה עבור בין הערביים שוטפות צנוניות את העמק ערב יפה וחמים שטר גבות ותלמים אנו כמו כל החולמים אחר השמש שנית תינוקות. לו רק יצאנו שנית לחרוש ולזרוע, לו רק יכולנו לקצור, לו רק לצאת ולבצור, לו רק ידענו למצוא חדוות הנוער.
This is Paige DeSorbo, the co-host of Giggly Squad. I have exciting news. McDonald's has all new McCrispy strips. It's chicken made for dipping. Tender, juicy white meat chicken with a golden brown, peppery breading. It's chicken so good it deserves its own sauce. The creamy chili McCrispy strip dip, a sauce that's creamy, savory, and sweet with a little heat. But it works with any of our sauces. I'm personally a barbecue sauce girl. Even sometimes I like ketchup. I'm just like basic sometimes. But I also need it in addition to any new sauces I'm trying. With a new creamy chili McCrispy strip dip, it's chicken made for dipping, only at McDonald's.